Oh, same clothes as last video. It's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? Now, the reason I'm in the same clothes is that in my last video, which I finished about 3 minutes ago, I said that I was going to do a quick video on how to add rain in Photoshop. So I thought I'd just do it now. Adding rain in Photoshop is a very, very simple trick. All it requires is playing with noise, blend modes and blur. And opacity. NBBO. NOBO. NOB. I don't know if there's an acronym for it, but it's fairly straightforward. So this is how you do it. Okay, so this image here I think is a really good image to add some rain to. I took the background photo in New Zealand at the back end of last year and I edited this a couple of months back. As you can see, it's a fighter jet that's been painted pink and covered in hearts. I call it Lover Jet. I'm quite proud of that name. Anyway, as you can see in the background, there's this rain cloud that I perceive as heading in that direction. So I think it's a really good shot just to add a bit of sideways rain to increase the mood in the image. So this is how we'll do it. First up, I'm just going to add a new layer. I'm then going to go to edit and I'm going to fill that layer with black. I'm then going to go Command T or Control T on a PC and I'm just going to increase the size of this layer by 200%. Then I'm going to right click on that layer and go to Convert to Smart Object. And that just means that the changes we're going to make on this layer are non-destructive. We can go back and make tweaks later on. When that's done, I'm going to go to Filter, I'm going to go to Noise and Add Noise. Now, by the looks of things, this is set to about 30% at the moment. I think that'll be fine, but as I said, because we're working with a smart object, we can come back at any time later on and adjust the amount. The important thing to note is that distribution is set to Gaussian, and there's a tick in the box next to monochromatic. So I'm going to press OK. I'm then going to go to the blend mode and go to screen. Now, as you can see, that doesn't look all that impressive at the moment, but if we just go up to filter and blur and then down to motion blur, you can see that straight away we're getting something like the effect that we might be interested in. So currently the angle is set to 62 degrees, and as I mentioned before, I have a perception that the wind is moving right to left, so that works pretty well. And the distance is currently set to 50 pixels, which again, I think is fine. But you guessed it, because we're working with a smart object, all of these filters that we're adding are smart filters, and you can come back and change them at any point later on, should you desire. So that's in pretty good shape, but I think we can make this rain look a bit more punchy. So what I'm going to do is go down to my adjustment layers, and then to levels. And then I'm just going to make sure that I hover between the two with my cursor, press Alt, and clip that adjustment layer to the black layer that I've got the noise and the blurs on. Then with the levels panel up, I'm just going to bring these levels a tad closer together. And all that's going to do is up the contrast and make the rain look a bit more punchy. And I quite like the look of that. The only real thing that's on my mind at the moment is that the raindrops look a little bit too sharp. So I'm going to make sure I click on my black layer again, go back to filter, blur, and this time I'm going to go to Gaussian blur. And I'm probably going to go to something like 0.3 pixels. Click OK, and that looks a slight bit better. Now, if you're working with an image that has a lot of depth to it, or you've got a subject that's very close to the camera lens, you may have more success adding rain with a brush that you create to look like a raindrop. Because then you can work through multiple layers with different size drops and adding blurs and things. But for a really wide landscape shot like this technique works really well. So you can fill a layer with black and use the screen mode. Sometimes filling a layer with grey and using the overlay blend mode works just as well. But that's pretty much how you add rain into a wide landscape shot in Photoshop. Yeah, so that's that. If you want to know how to do something else in Photoshop, just let me know in the comments. If I don't know how to do it myself, then I'll ignore that I ever saw the comment and hope that no one notices.